Hi, it's Lou Collins, and today I have got another Craftworld template for you. This one's really good fun. It's the Shutter Reveal card. So with this one, the magic happens on the inside of the card. When you open it up, there are two banner shapes, and that's these, that actually open to reveal a message inside. So we've got the cut and score lines on the template for you. I've got my additional extras, as in my patterned paper and such. But one other thing that I found really helpful with this template is a circle die. As long as it's roughly this size, then that will work. If you don't have a circle die, you can still create this template. You'll just need to cut it by hand with something like a craft knife. So I have gone ahead and I have already started with some of my pieces. These are the main pieces that you're going to need for the mechanism. So everything else that's on here are all additional extras, okay? This one is a template for you for inside your window, so you know what sort of size to maybe stamp a sentiment on, for example. And again, all of these are just embellishments, so we don't want to worry about those at the moment. So what we've got here are two banners, the card base and the circle die, the kind of window. So let's work with the card base first of all, and let's put our score lines in. So this is like a gatefold card. So I have already glued the template with a repositionable glue onto a piece of cardstock, and I'll show you that. So we've got this in a lovely bright teal. Now with this cardstock, I'm doing it in a nice bright colour, along with bright colours for all of these, just really so you can see where each one goes and the difference with them. So I've cut these, and I need to add score lines into the banners as well. So just popping that onto my scoreboard and adding these in, and then removing the template, and the same on the second one. There we go. So this is quite a nice small card, but once you've got the hang of this mechanism and how to make it, you can absolutely be going ahead and creating your own on a larger scale. This just kind of gets you used to the idea, how it works, how it glues together. So for this one, I'm going to take the template off just for now. I've cut that panel down to size, and I'm going to glue over the top a slightly smaller piece of cardstock. Okay, so this is a patterned paper. It's nice and bright. We're going for a really bright, funky theme with this one today. And the reason I want to add this now is so that when I cut my window through with my die, like I say, you can use a craft knife if you prefer. I'm going to make sure that the window through both layers is in exactly the same place. So this is optional. You can, of course, cut your window into one layer each separately, but I prefer to do it this way. So I'm now going to just place this over the top, my template, and I'm going to take a pencil, and I'm just going to draw around that window, pressing really hard. And all I'm hoping this is going to do is add an indentation into the patterned paper here. Let me just hold that up and see if you can see that line. I'm not sure if I catch the light right. I've got an indentation from that pencil line, and I can use that to line up where my die is going to go. So I'm going to tack my die down with a little bit of repositionable tape here, and run that through my die cutting machine. So now I've got my card base, and I'm just going to fold in the gatefold as such, the two panels, to create the base itself. This panel with the hole in that we've just created will sit perfectly in the middle, and you'll notice you've got a track each side of this on the card base. It doesn't quite fit the whole width. That's because these flags are going to go in underneath. Now what I find really helpful here is to lay your panel with your window in onto your card base in the center, and just draw a pencil line through the window. Okay, this just helps you when you're creating this next stage. So what we're going to do now is we're going to just fold the score line in each of the banners, and we're going to put a little bit of adhesive onto each of these. So I'm going to use a red line tape, just here, and I've got some scissors to cut it because red line tape will not tear. So just finding the end there, popping the tape along here. The reason I'm using red line tape is because it's super strong. This is a mechanism that's going to be worked a lot, opened and closed numerous amounts of times. So you want a glue or an adhesive that's really going to hold. If you were to use a wet glue, you do risk the chance of that squelching out and touching places on the mechanism that you don't want it to affix to. So I'm now going to just take the backing off of my red line tape like so. It's very static, so you expect it to get it caught to your hands, and that is going to line up. Now what I'm going to do now is just use my pencil again. I'm going to lay my banner over so that the top and the bottom are level with the circle, and I'm just going to do a pencil line over the score line at the top and bottom here. This is just going to help me line this up, and I'm going to do exactly the same on this side. Okay, so now with my glue on that score line there, I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to put the edge of this banner to the edge of this card on the outer piece there. So just facing outwards like so. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. So taking the sticky off, using those lines to line this up with your circle, and placing where you've got the score line down here, just placing that sticky to, this time to the right hand side. There we go. Now what we're going to do is fold these in, and you can overlap these in any way you want to. So you could have one over the top of the other, or you can bring in the corners of the banner like so. Now when you close your banner, you should see that that closes and folds completely flat in there, and when you open it, you should see that that pulls open your banners like so. And when they're completely open, you should have a gap in there that you can see through into there. So what we need to do now, before we put our window over the top, is we actually need to put something inside to open up and reveal. So for me, I'm going to take this sentiment that's on a die cut topper, and I'm going to just snip that out so that it fits underneath my banners. I'm not worried about the leaves and such at the edge. So that's going to place there, and just make sure that you can see your sentiment when you open it up. So that says "with love and hugs," and I'm going to glue that down. You want to glue this down with a wet glue so it's nice and flat. Glue right to the edges, just so that you don't have any little lips that can be lifted up while the mechanism is moving. So I'm just placing that down gently, and I'm going to maneuver it before the glue dries to ensure that you can read everything on there. So "with love and hugs." Lift it up slightly. I want to do this before the glue dries. There we go. So now we can put our window back over the top. I'm going to go with red line tape again. You could use a foam tape if you wanted to, but it would affect the card not closing quite as flat as you might like. So experiment with different ways of attaching this that suit you and your card style. I'm going back with the red liner tape, and I'm just going to place some at the top, a thin line at the top and a thin line at the bottom. That should be enough to hold it. If you'd like a little more glue, you could put another piece across here along the center, but just make sure it's not going to be in the way of this mechanism. So again, we're going to take off the backing, the red liner backing. Now this is always the hardest type of glue backing I find to get off. Because of anything else, it's actually static, so it then sticks to you for a little while, so I sort of have to shake it off. This doesn't come as finger lift either, so finger lift is my favourite sort of tape to use to get the backing off. It's so easy. Right, so now placing your banners down all nice and flat, and let's put this window panel over the top here like so. and we can close our mechanism up, and then we can open it to reveal our message. Beautiful. Okay, so the next stage for me is to just decorate the front quickly, and I'm just going to do this quite simply with some matting and layering. So some cardstock. I've got a solid cardstock first to go on the bottom. I've already measured and cut these out to fit on these two gatefold pieces. So just lift that up slightly. And then I've got a lovely patterned paper that's come from a Polka Doodles Birthday Fun paper pad, and this will sit over the top, and that incorporates all those lovely colours that we've got inside the card as well. So the purples and the teals and the pinks are all in there. So there we have our card. Now you can pop a ribbon around this if you want to. You could put a topper on the front, and when it's opened up, you've got that reveal in there that then says "with love and hugs." So you've got everything that you need within the Shutter Reveal card template to be able to create this card base, and really you can go ahead and decorate it in any way you want to.